You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day, and happy birthday to some very notable Aquariuses on this January 30th. Christian Bale is an Aquarius. Love that for him. Also, Franklin D. Roosevelt was an Aquarius. I'm just now learning this, but it makes so much sense. The president associated with implementing Social Security, this very collective-oriented program using very forward thinking as well, right? Like using current wealth to take care of people who are aging out of the system. I don't need to explain Social Security to you, but it feels like a very Aquarian system, right? Phil Collins is also an Aquarius. This hair is being an Aquarius too, just doing its own thing today. Let's see. Anyone else? Kid Cudi. Okay. I believe a king or a prince of Spain. Wilmer Valderrama from that 70s show, Gene Hackman, Dick Cheney, lots of Aquariuses celebrating today. So if you are an Aquarius, if you know someone else who is celebrating their birthday, give them a shout out so we can celebrate them and send some love their way. Corby is here. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having a great day as well. Perfect timing, 3:33 Eastern time. See, I thought I was running late, but on the East Coast, this message is coming at the perfect time. Thank you so much, Dave. Yeah, all the love. Hi, Nick. Okay, so let's get a check on the current energy. The sun is in Aquarius and the moon moved into Gemini just after midnight Pacific time. So overnight for most of us, the moon moved into Gemini. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. In fact, the Gemini moon is really what we're going to be focusing on for the next couple days. That's the most potent energy we're going to be feeling. And I love that we're starting this moon day just talking about the moon, sinking into the moon's energy. I also want to point out the sun is in Aquarius, an air sign. I know. Aqua is in the name, but Aquarius is an air sign. And the moon is in Gemini, also an air sign. So the energy might feel more airy, aka you might be more talkative or social or kind of wanting to buzz around a little bit. It should be, in a sense, lighter and more communicative, more intellectual. Air energy is very mental energy. So let's talk about the different connections the Gemini moon is making today. And you're welcome to let me know where Gemini falls in your chart. If you are part of the transit tracking group, you should have gotten a message from me asking you to look at the beginning of Gemini in your chart. But even if you're not part of our month-long group together, take a look. Where does Gemini start in your chart? That's the area of your chart the moon will be moving through over the next couple days, and where you might feel more emotional focus, or what area of your life you might be more nurtured by over the next couple days. But for all of us, when the moon is in Gemini, it's really activating our mental mind. The moon in Gemini helps us process our emotions ruled by the moon through our mental lens. So we like to talk things out. Maybe having a journal handy, writing about our feelings feels very on point for the Gemini moon, and specifically the waxing gibbous moon in Gemini. We just came off of the first quarter moon over the weekend in Taurus, that first quarter moon inviting us to take grounded action, begin moving the needle forward, kind of push ahead in the earth sign of Taurus. The waxing gibbous moon, which is what we will be feeling all week leading up to the full moon on Sunday, is an opportune time to gather data, to make adjustments. We've gotten the ball rolling. Now it's like, do we need to adjust course a little bit? Do we need to pick up some more data along the way? And with the moon in the very intellectual sign of Gemini, looking to your emotions as data. What information are my emotions bringing me? Does that make sense? Grammatically, of course, under the Gemini moon, I'm like, the grammar has to make sense. So yeah, looking to feelings that pop up as data. Like, what are you showing me about the path I'm on? What emotional needs I might have right now? And also zooming out and saying, okay, what seeds did I plant under the new moon in Aquarius, and what adjustments do I need to make both internally and externally in order to bring those seeds to fruition ahead of the full moon? So this feels like an adjustment period where we're really analyzing and fine-tuning things, using our mental mind to correct course or gather more resources, even so we can see our seeds fully bloom by the full moon. All right. Yeah, Corby says Gemini rules her 8th house. So the Gemini moon, you might be uncovering some deeper parts of yourself, deeper information, uncovering data that has been hiding beneath the surface a little bit. Rachel says she's feeling pretty tired today, had that Reiki class yesterday and just want to sleep. Gemini rules my 10th, but mostly my 9th. Well, that probably is more attributed to the Reiki, because energy healing, I know a lot of times it just feels like we're just doing light stuff and we're not doing a lot of intense physical work, but energetic work can take a toll, especially if you're new to it. So full permission to give yourself time to rest and integrate a lot of the expansion that came through while the moon moved into your 9th house in Taurus. I believe Gemini, last degree, my Mars in Gemini return. So the moon will go over your Mars. The moon will be conjunct Mars late tonight, actually. That's what we'll be talking about. So really feeling your Mars return. Gemini in the 7th house for Nick. So relationships are going to be the focus of your Gemini moon experience. Talking with other people, sharing how you're feeling with other people, almost bouncing your emotions off of others. Yeah, Rachel says, I woke up this morning and had the need to write down some spiritual insights that came from the Reiki session. Also had a wild dream last night about being lost on a train. Your mental mind, very active even in your sleep under that Gemini moon. Makes sense. My dreams really pulled some deep stuff up. Well, now that I know you're such a vivid dreamer, that makes sense. Had to do some deep digging this morning. Wild. Yeah. Especially with the moon moving into the 8th house. Makes sense. Deep stuff coming up for you. So wherever the Gemini moon is for you, whatever area of your life it's activating, you can almost look at the emotions coming up as data, as I mentioned. Like, what is this showing me about this area of my life? What resistance, what acceptance, what joy, what despair am I feeling? Whatever that emotion is, it is acting as information. Melissa says Gemini 5th and 6th house. So for you, maybe feeling more expressive, writing, being creative, using that stimulating Gemini energy to creatively express as an outlet. Love that. Okay, let's talk about the connections, though, that the Gemini moon made. So I'll pull up the chart here. 9 a.m. Pacific time, so noon Eastern time. We're pulling away from this right now, but you can see Venus is at 4 degrees of Pisces now. And when the moon was at 4 degrees, still definitely feeling this. We're within that 5-degree orb still, but the moon squared Venus. The first connection, I should say, we felt on Monday morning was a square between the moon and Venus. Anytime the moon squares Venus, it makes us emotionally needy. It's kind of that impulse to reach for something quick to make us feel good, that quick fix for pleasure. So our friend Rose, who's often in the chat, anytime we have a Venus transit like this, she's like, yep, makes sense. I had cookies for breakfast, or I wanted ice cream for breakfast. But it's that need to feel pleasure when the moon squares Venus, especially with Venus in Pisces. Like, we just want it to feel like a fantasy. We just want it to feel good. So you might have felt that this morning too, just wanting to indulge, or craving stimulation, craving affection, wanting to snuggle. I know for me, I just wanted to stay in bed. I was like, I just want to indulge in the comfort of my bed, stay in dreamland, stay in the fantasy with Venus and Pisces, but also just feeling needy for love, for affection. You might notice the people around you are a little more touchy-feely and like really craving you to reciprocate that affection. Or you might be feeling that too, like, I just really need a hug. I just really need someone to tell me I'm pretty, or to give me a little bit of love. Especially with the moon in Gemini, we're craving that stimulation. Gemini energy craves variety. It craves that stimulation. So with Venus on the other end of this square in Pisces, it's like craving emotional, affectionate stimulation, if that makes sense. It could also come, I always say, with Venus, especially a square to Venus or an opposition to Venus, oftentimes we really want indulgent food too. But with Venus and Pisces, I see this more as like touchy-feely, give me a hug, affection. Yeah. Nikki had lots of dreams giving her information too. Dreams helped her. I love that. And had coffee and some donuts for breakfast. Donuts for breakfast definitely feels like a square to Venus. Wanted to add chocolate chips to my yogurt, but sadly we didn't have any. Stayed healthy. But if you had had them, you probably would have. Thank you, Venus, right? Not me having brownies. All right, well, the food cravings definitely still coming up. Even though, I love how we're all craving sweets too, like Venus and Pisces. I always say like the sweet sign of Pisces, but yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I felt like staying in bed this morning too, but you got up, you did it, and that's an accomplishment in itself. I'm saying that to me, patting myself on the back. Stayed in bed longer than I wanted to, but we're here, we made it, we're hanging out together. It's an accomplishment just to get out of bed sometimes. Okay, and the energy we're really feeling currently is a sextile between the moon and Jupiter. So this was exact 11:12 Pacific time. We're really feeling this sextile still, though. The moon is separating from the 60-degree angle, but what does this mean for us? Well, Jupiter being a planet of abundance, optimism, good fortune. When the moon in Gemini forms this nice supportive angle to Jupiter, it helps us see the silver linings. It helps us be more optimistic, even be more friendly with the moon in social Gemini, like wanting to be generous, wanting to share with others. We might even be getting a boost of energy. And I will say, as the day goes on, you'll likely get more and more energy, because the next transit we're talking about is the moon coming into a conjunction with Mars. So Jupiter, this connection to Jupiter gives us a little boost, like, okay, I can see the silver linings. I can see good things are coming. I can feel more social, a little more chatty this afternoon, positivity coming more easily. Remember, a sextile, we do have to lean into it, but if we're willing to lean into it, we gain the positive benefits from it. So as long as we're willing to like see the silver lining, it's like, oh, okay, everything is working out. It's all good, right? And Jupiter here, again, making us more social, wanting to share good vibes with other people. I want to move on to the moon conjunct Mars, though, because that's really what we're feeling most strongly today. And even if you look at the chart, I mean, the moon is just 4 degrees away from Mars. So tonight actually might be a night. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. The other night when the moon was in Aries, I think it was on Thursday night, we were able to see Jupiter right next to the moon during a conjunction between the moon and Jupiter. Tonight is a night you might want to look up. This connection is exact around 9 p.m. Pacific time. So probably anywhere between, I would say, 8 p.m. Pacific time and midnight. And for those of you on the East Coast, maybe starting to look around 9 or 10 p.m., you'll probably be able to see Mars right next to the moon during this conjunction. Now, I am not an astronomer. I am an astrologer, so don't quote me on that, but I will certainly be out there looking for you guys. It's just so cool to me when we can actually see conjunctions playing out with our bare eyes, right? Our naked eye, because yeah, we can talk conceptually under this Gemini moon. We can intellectualize all the transits, but being able to look up and be like, oh, this is why we're feeling this energy right now, to me feels really validating. So let me know if you look up tonight and you see that conjunction between the moon and Mars. Again, we're already starting to feel this energy, and it will only get more potent as the day goes on, as the moon begins to fly more and more to Mars. Yeah, Rachel says, it looks like I'm staying up late tonight. Hopefully it won't be cloudy. Yeah, fingers crossed. No clouds in the sky here right now. So if I can see it, I will share on Instagram stories and maybe, I don't know, other platforms too. But Instagram stories is always my go-to. And if it's cloudy where you are, I'll try to at least post a little bit if I can see it. What does this mean for us emotionally, though, right? Because the moon represents our emotions, represents our internal experience. So when the moon is conjunct Mars, Mars being the planet of action, aggression, motivation, drive, we will likely have a lot of energy to work with. Probably feeling very stimulated, maybe even overstimulated tonight. So don't be surprised. Like Rachel's saying, looks like I'm staying up late tonight. It'll probably be easy to stay up late tonight with the moon conjunct Mars. Our energy continues to build. We might even feel impulsive, like we just need to take action, or we need to express ourselves. We need to say that thing with the moon in the expressive communicative sign of Gemini. Now, there's something else I want to point out, though, that's happening at the same time. In fact, I'll jump ahead. I don't even need to. You know what? You can see as the moon is conjunct Mars, it's also harmonizing with the sun, because remember yesterday, Sunday, we talked about the sun and Mars in a trine, in this harmonious angle to one another. We're still feeling that energy too. So there should be natural motivation, natural forward movement, natural drive that comes with this. And as the moon meets up with Mars and harmonizes with the sun, there's this confidence that comes very easily. We can assert our needs. We can say what we want. In fact, as I'm verbalizing this with you, I'm like, oh, this makes total sense. Like, I have been finding myself being like, no, this is what I need. This is what I want. And asserting myself a little more easily during this trine between the sun and Mars. Now, oh gosh, I just realized there's a typo in the forecast. The Virgo in me is like, no, gotta fix that. Anyway, I digress. Just be careful not to be too aggressive, too impulsive, too reactive when the moon meets up with Mars, because again, there is this impulse to just say it, just do it with the moon and Mars together. So we don't want to be too aggressive. We don't want to be too impulsive. Maybe take a beat before jumping into action. But if you are needing some motivation, some drive to move forward, the moon and Mars meeting with each other like this is the perfect energy to do it. If you need a little extra boost of confidence, boost of drive, Mars has got you tonight. So, oh my gosh, I just realized this part of the forecast is a freaking mess. I will be changing that. So anyway, lots of energy, lots of motivation as the day goes on. In fact, you might be feeling like the opposite of winding down as the day winds down. Let's see. I'll be taking a look too. Nick says, I've been seeing the planets around sunset, like 6 to 7 p.m. when going to check the mailbox. Yeah, you should be able to see Venus as well. I think either right before sunset or right after sunrise. I don't remember if Venus is an evening star or a morning star right now. She changes halfway through the year. Rachel says it's clear there too. Yeah. And if you see it, let us know. Like, throw it in our transit tracking group chat. Send us a picture. We'd love to see it. Rachel says, I'm feeling some kind of duality. Found out some news that might need to change some plans of mine. Got irritated at first, but then leaned into it'll work out somehow. Irritation is also a byproduct of the moon connecting with Mars, right? Gemini energy is very stimulating, and then Mars can bring in a little bit of anger, a little bit of fire, a little bit of irritation. So that's where reactivity comes into play, and where we do want to be aware of our energy, aware of what's going on, so we don't automatically lean into that impulse to just bleh, right? Like, just say how we're feeling, or just do the thing that, you know, we're feeling impulsively like we need to do. Typos happen. Well, I'm feeling the irritation of the moon and Mars right now. Like, why? Why did I publish this without reading through it? Acceptance. We're accepting. We're letting the perfectionism wash away. But I just got to be real with you all. That pisses me off. Like Jupiter and Mars kind of battling today. Or like Jupiter can help with any aggression that comes up. It's interesting that you say, like, you went from irritated to like, okay, it's going to work out. Jupiter's like that optimist. It'll figure itself out. It'll work out, right? But Mars is like, this is really bothering me right now, you know? I always have typos, yeah. Yeah, so that makes sense, that duality specifically that you're feeling, you know, right now with the moon, yes, connecting with Jupiter, helping us see the positivity, but also applying to Mars, like, it's a little touchy, it's a little aggressive. And as always, when there's a lot of Mars energy, having a physical outlet for that irritation, for that restlessness that might pop up, whether it's having a playlist ready to go to dance it out, doing some jumping jacks, doing some push-ups, going for a run, going for a walk, physically moving energy when we have a conjunction to Mars can be very helpful. So have a backup plan, have a healthy outlet ready to go if you are feeling irritable, and hopefully it involves something physical, something to physically move that energy. We don't want to keep the irritation stuck in our mind, which is easy to do with the moon in Gemini. We're really like emotionally living up here, but Mars is like, okay, bring it back down into the body, move the energy physically. That's the forecast today. Coming back to our affirmation, I know what I want. I know what I want. The sun and Mars still harmonizing, the moon coming into that conjunction with Mars. And this doesn't necessarily have to be like, I know what I want and I'm asserting what I want, although it can be. But sometimes it's simply, I know how I want to feel. So even if we're feeling irritation, anger, aggression, like, I know I want to live a peaceful life. So how can I have a healthy outlet for that irritation? Or I know that I want to have a peaceful relationship. So how can I choose kindness rather than violence and honor what I really want in life? I know what I want. Something to come back to. I know how I want to feel. I know who I want to be. I know what kind of person I want to show up as in the world. And I know what I'm going after. I know what I want. This can really help too during the waxing gibbous phase of the moon, as we talked about making adjustments, correcting course, gathering more information, coming back to the seeds you planted under the new moon as being the things that you want, what you're trying to manifest. How can your actions today, at every moment, and every breath, support the seeds you planted, support what you really want in this lifetime? And we'll finish up today with a card pull from the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck, since we've been talking so much about the Gemini moon. And hey, maybe we'll even see Mars meet up with the moon tonight. On this moon day, it just feels right to pull from a moon deck. So as I'm shuffling, you know the drill. This is your time to ask any final questions, share any final reflections. And I do want to respond to a comment on Instagram. Someone asks, do you do personal independent readings? Yes, I do. You can always book readings with me at thespiritualjournalist.com/readings. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you can scan the QR code to book. But the reason I want to clarify is because she says, I got a message from you that on Instagram, a private message. There are many fake accounts offering readings through the DMs and asking for money through the DMs. I've posted about this quite a bit, but the fake accounts just keep popping up. And so I want to clarify, I will never reach out to you offering you a reading, ever. I hate sales, not my thing. I wish I was a little better at them, to be honest, but I'm not a big fan of selling. So I will never reach out to you. I will never DM you saying that I got a message that I needed to connect with you. Those are spam accounts. And that goes for like 99.9% of people in the spiritual space who offer healings or readings. We are never going to reach out to you. That isn't ethical. It's gross, that people are creating all these fake accounts, literally stealing my content and pretending to be me and trying to get money out of you. So that is not me. I will never reach out to you. And yes, report and block those accounts. I repeat, report and block those accounts. Yeah. And block them so they can't do the same thing to you, especially if you're posting any kind of spiritual content. They're really going after those of us in that space. Yeah, I notice when other fake accounts follow me, I immediately block them and report them, not just to help out the person that they're impersonating, but also because I know those people are probably going to try to do the same thing to me. So it feels very fitting that the moon is coming into a conjunction with Mars, and I'm like, these people, again, they're irritating me. Yeah. Nikki says, I'm an artist, get lots of spammers on Instagram asking to DM me. I think it's annoying. I block them. And I have noticed, I think Instagram is trying to put more steps in place. So now when you report accounts, you can say, who are they impersonating? And you can tag my actual account. But I mean, this is my handle on Instagram, and I get it. I've got a lot of letters in my name. It's really easy to get confused if there's an extra N or an extra R or one less letter, or yeah. So this is my only Olivia DeGennaro Instagram. I will not reach out to you. I will not DM you offering readings, but I do offer one-on-one readings. Just book through my website. That's the only place that I will accept money from you, is through thespiritualjournalist.com. Okay, on that note, after that full-blown spiel, just want to clarify and answer the question. Let's come back to the card pull. And I want to mention one more thing as we pull the card. We talked about how much air energy we're feeling today with the moon in an air sign, the sun in an air sign, and Gemini rules the nervous system. So just a reminder that a nice deep breath can help reset the nervous system, or a few deep breaths. So actually, let's do that. Let's do 3 deep breaths today, all together. Whether you're finding this video later or you're joining me live, just take this moment, give yourself the gift of a regulated nervous system. And let's take the 3 deepest breaths we've taken all day. On the 3rd exhale, just letting out an audible sigh, sending energy into the deck and asking what message needs to come through. Here we go. Breathing in. Let it go. Another one. Breathe in and release. Last time, the deepest breath all the way in. And let it out. What do we need to know? Card number 16, the full moon. The message is power. Love this as we're heading towards a full moon on Sunday. Card number 16. Here is the message. Step into your true power. Shine brightly. Do not hide who and what you are. The time is right to attract big things for yourself. Ancestral energy is important. Open your mind to larger possibilities. Big magic can be wrought. I have power. It is real. Go outside on a clear night and look up. Love this. Hopefully you'll see the stars a-twinkling. If you're really lucky, you might see the swirling Milky Way spilling across the darkness. And then there she is, the big full moon, unmistakable in her glory and power. She moves the earth itself, stabilizes it into orbit. She releases and pulls the seas. She is the object of devotion, the inspiration of poems, the realm of goddesses, and she has witnessed the very first of us rise up on two legs and venerate her. Generation after generation, we have stood barefoot under the same moon, wishing, setting intentions, dancing, and drawing her graceful power. You are made of the very swirling matter that is the stuff of stars. You are pure possibility, changing constantly, renewing, and transforming. Take this moment to recognize that power and rejoice in it, for your next step is the precursor to your future self. What a beautiful reminder. Literally, go look up tonight. That's what this message reminded us of. Not just to see Mars, but also to remember that you are made of stardust, that you have so much power. And this feels like a very powerful card, of course. The message was power, but that reminder, as we talked about, the confidence that will come tonight with the moon conjunct Mars, harmonizing with the sun, to assert yourself, to really own your power, claim your power, and use that to step forward, to own it, to own what you're here to do, to own what you really want. Nikki says 16 is my birthday number, an especially powerful card for you. I love that. It's a sign, no clouds tonight. Yeah. Step into your power. You didn't come here to play small. What's on your heart? What do you really want to do? Coming back to our affirmation, I know what I want. If you know what you want, this is the invitation to step into it, to move forward. Very beautiful. Very exciting. Love that we're ending on such a powerful note today. A reminder of how much power we each have, how much influence we each have, and also a reminder to check in. What do you really want, and what are you here to do? With that, we'll finish up our time together today. I will be back tomorrow to check in with Tuesday's transits, and hopefully you're able to see a beautiful conjunction in the sky tonight before I see you next. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you continuing to show up for our community here, continuing to show up for yourself, and reflect on how the energy is affecting you. If you're new here, welcome. We're so excited to have you. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel so we can keep these forecasts coming to you for free every day. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your moon day, of your Monday. Sending you all so much love. Rachel says the card really resonated with her. Yes, you are on the right path. Looking forward to where the journey will take me. Sending you love. And until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.